Welcome back to the channel. Motoflight Guy here. Today we're going to be working on the fuselage some more, and we really need to get this belly stripped, so we're going to have to figure out how to rotate the fuselage onto its side so we can get to the belly, so stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is pull the seats out. I've had them in there in and out a couple of times for various reasons, but we need to pull the seats out, and anything that's loose down inside the fuselage we need to get out of there because we're going to rotate this thing 90 degrees and lay it on its side. And then I do have a game plan. Hopefully I'm going to use a combination of my engine hoist and our beautiful camera woman behind the camera here, Whitney, and I'm hoping with everything out of it, no fuel tank, no nothing in there, that we're able to carefully rotate it onto its side. So I don't know, we'll see. It may be a failure, it may work, so let's get to it. All right, so that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. There's a little bit more weight there than what I had originally estimated, but we were able to finagle it up onto the sawhorses. Didn't even take anything out of the inside because now I can just reach right in here, take everything out. So this is going to be pretty nice for doing some work I got to do on the inside. We're going to be pulling out all this foam that they've got in here. If you look inside there, they've got a bunch of foam insulation in there, and it's all basically real cheap, like hobby store foam. So we're going to be pulling all that out, reinsulating the firewall and the sidewalls with more of an aviation flame resistant style of insulation. We get these seats out of here, and then we're going to have to start pulling the gear off. All right, so one of the reasons why the gear's coming off is because I need to check it for cracks. So this gear on these Thorps is known to develop cracks, and before I even unbolted anything, as soon as I got it flipped over, I took a look at these welds on the bottom and immediately found that somebody has stop drilled cracks on that. And I don't know if the camera will really show it, but maybe we can put some still photos in there. There's actually a crack in this weld up to that hole, and then if you look down here on the bottom, there's almost an identical crack there that starts from the inboard side and starts running outboard, and then they've stop drilled that. So I do know a guy who, Dave, the guy that's doing the welding on the fuel tank, he's also repaired some of these gears. He's more familiar with it than I am, so we'll probably end up taking that down there to him. I'm not really sure what he's going to recommend on that, but he's repaired a couple of them, and I know he's been flying on a repaired gear for about the past 3 years, he told me. So we'll get that taken care of, but before I take it to him, I'm probably going to strip all the paint off and everything like that. That way he doesn't have to deal with it while he's welding on it. All right, so it's been several weeks, but I got the gear back from Dave. I forgot to film it, but basically both gear legs were actually tweaked and bent. So Dave straightened the gear and then he TIG welded the cracks up for me. We've got some stripper on it now, which is just basically some hardware store stripper. I'm hoping this blue paint isn't near as tough as what I had to strip off the fuselage. So I just got some citrus stripper. We're gonna leave that on there while we do some other stuff and see if we can't get this paint to come loose. And then we'll be repainting this gear gloss white so we can eventually bolt it back up onto the fuselage. All right, so it's been several weeks since I've started on the landing gear. A lot of things have gotten in the way, but as you can see, the whole landing gear is stripped now. We used a citrus stripper, and then I actually used some wire brushes on drills, a couple different shapes and sizes here, just so I could get up in all the nooks and crannies and make sure I got all the old paint and all the old primer off of it. I had to move it to my home shop here in my garage because it's officially winter, I think, here in the Midwest, and it's pretty cold outside. So I think we're ready to do a final wipe down on it, and I'll show you what primer I'm going to be using on this. So all I'm using is some of the Rust-Oleum self-etching primer, and basically I went through how I wanted to do this. I initially was going to powder coat it, and I decided against that just because powder coat can sometimes hide cracks in the gear, and there's a couple spots that need to be checked regularly on the T18 just to make sure that they're not cracked. And I just decided it was a little bit easier logistics wise to just go with paint, and I don't have to worry about potentially hiding cracks in the future. So we're just going to go with the Rust-Oleum gloss white finish. So that's all I've got for cinematic footage. That footage is over a year old. I know there's been a gap in the content, but progress did not stop on this thing. So as you can see, the landing gear is painted back on, and oh yeah, the thing has wings on it too. I got a whole nother project which came with a complete set of wings, and it's kind of an interesting story. So I'm down in Granbury, Texas, and I just got done loading up a whole Thorp T18 project, but mainly it's got a complete center wing and outer wings that are in the truck. It's like 90 degrees out here this morning. Actually found this thing, a guy just emailed me from YouTube and said, hey, we've got an old Thorp project that we're looking to get rid of. So we've got a 13-hour drive to get this back to Illinois, but this should shave a lot of time off of my Thorp getting back in the air. So we got to get on the road. So my good buddy Lyle went with me. We drove down, looked at it, got up early the next morning, loaded it, drove back home. It was 26 hours round trip of driving in 2 days. It was crazy. So I ended up with a whole nother Thorp project out of that, which we'll talk more about later. And then the reason why there's been a gap is I got deep into another project. So I actually built a teardrop camper last year from scratch, from plans. So, and I did film that. So that's going to be one of the next videos on the channel. You guys will see the build process through that, which kind of delayed things a little bit, but not really. We still got some stuff done on the Thorp last year. I just wasn't putting out the content on it. So I'll get into that, show you guys a quick walk around, show you where everything's at on it, and kind of what the next phase is. So here's the current state of the Thorp, sitting on the gear. The tail is just kind of bolt stuck in it on there for looks. We had an event out here last fall, and so I kind of mocked everything up. Wings are temporarily bolted up. Huge shout out to the Harris brothers. So the story on these wings, I was actually driving home from Oshkosh last year, and I got an email from a guy that said, hey, I found your channel. I saw you're redoing a Thorp. Me and my brother are tasked with cleaning out my father's hangar after he passed away, and he's got a complete Thorp T18 project in that hangar. Would you be possibly interested in looking at it or buying it? And I said, absolutely. It depends on what you got. Long story short, they got me pictures. We worked out a deal, and now I have this full set of wings. So yeah, if you guys are watching, thanks for reaching out. You guys were really good to deal with, and I'm glad that that project got rehomed and that my project has got a big jump start. So these wings, the outer panels had primer on them. Very poor primer job for some strange reason. So I've already stripped both outer wing sections back down to bare aluminum. The center section was already bare, and it's bolted up, but it's got one size smaller bolts in it right now. It looked like it was going to bolt up beautifully. However, as you can see here, we've got the wing skin is contacting the fuselage. It prevented, this wing needs to go that way like 1/8 of an inch. And then the correct size bolts will go in. So I just need to trim some of the skin there. And I think they're going to bolt up beautifully. So that was kind of a question mark, was whether or not the wing attached bolts were going to line up. I think we're in good shape there. The inside of the airplane is basically completely gutted, but the next step there is the fuel tank. If you come over here, here's my fuel tank, and you can see we've got a brand new ACS locking fuel cap that's been welded in there. Dave Reed welded that in for me and pressure tested the tank. So it's basically good to go. We're just going to strip this blue paint off there. I don't know why it has blue paint on it, but we'll strip it, we'll paint it white, and then it can actually go back in the fuel tank straps, and we can start putting the cockpit kind of back together. And then the next phase is my engine. So all along this big shelf up here is my engine in 1,000 pieces. So we're gonna get that stuff down, inventory it, strip the paint off the cases, all kinds of stuff going on with the engine build. So there you guys have it. That's a full update on the current status of the Thorp T18. Big moves are going to be happening on this airplane this year in 2026. Super stoked about that, and I couldn't be more happy to get some nicer weather out here and finally start digging into this thing. So look for more videos on the channel shortly, and as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.